We can protect the world and save Xion at the same time!
I too shall lend my services. My knowledge of Renan lore is bound to be a useful asset.
And they say modesty is dead.
Miracles just seem to follow wherever you go, huh?
How do you know it's me they're following? We're all in this together, Xion. You included. Now let's get moving, shall we? Last I heard, we had an apocalypse to stop. Thank you, Naori. So Naori sealed away the power that made me lose control of myself. She stopped my rampage and saved my life. But then, that power she'd sealed away was passed down to you. I'm so sorry, Xion. It's my fault that you're cursed.
You're wrong. What happened to you was because of the ceremony, and Naori's attempt to stop Oblivion. You paid a heavy price for it, and then fell asleep for 300 years. The reason you lost your memories
Is the reason for your curse.
the thorns.
It all leads back to them. But once they're gone, we can finally put an end to all this.
When my thorns are gone, I never dared to dream that such a thing could be possible. No. The truth is, I think maybe I've always been dreaming about a life without my thorns. The touch of my family, or playing with my friends, holding hands with Rinwell, or giving Law a deserved smack, embracing everyone. All the normal things that people do together. I always wished I could experience them for myself, and finally know what they were like. Is it really okay for me to believe it can happen? I'm so scared of getting my hopes up.
Of
What if it
course
doesn't
it
work
is,
out in
girl.
the end, and...
That's not going to happen.
It's perfectly
I'm
fine.
here to make sure it won't.
Xion,
Forget
you're so
fate or
sweet.
destiny or anything else. We're going to live
Yeah, we are.
a normal life. There are a lot of things you still want to do, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's such a strange feeling. I know that we've still got plenty of fighting up ahead. And it's for my sake. So I can live.
You're worth fighting for.
Yeah, Xion.
I believe you, Alphen.
Good. I'll keep on fighting. For as long as it takes. Until our future is finally in our hands.
Oh, yeah. And welcome back, guys. Let's play Tokyo, guys. Sorry for the weird cliffhanger there. The video recording was cut off in a weird place, so I had to restart recording again. You do what you do. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think Alpha's completely blameless for this. Maybe a little. Really both him and Iori. And the Thorns, I guess. All three of them kind of blame. I won't say Alpha's completely blameless, honestly. But okay, Xion. You do you, girl. I'm happy for you. She deserves the best. They're all says. No, man.
Sounds like this Naori chick had quite the big heart.
Yeah, it
Her
does.
position demanded nothing less. From the sound of things, she didn't focus on differences, least of all those between Renans and Danans.
Yeah. It was Naori who first showed me that such a thing was even possible. And then she saved my life by sending me back home to Dana.
Not only that, but she willingly stayed behind on Lenegis for the sake of her people. It sounds like she was quite the hero, all right. A truly caring person.
That's
Yeah, I
as if
guess.
walls meant nothing to her. The one separating the Renans from the Danans, or herself from others. She had no need for them.
But Which basically meant that she never had anything to break down in the first place, huh? Yeah. I think you may be right about that.
You inherited that legacy. Her wish for the world.
Don't I know it?
She's kind of like a lodestar guiding our way,
I guess.
showing us what we can aspire to.
I guess. Too bad she's not here in the game, actually. You know, an actual character. Be kind of cool. But, I mean, is she done? That's good enough. She knows things are with her. Guess what? We're gonna get near the end. Believe it or not. There will be some extra content. Have it set up to go.
That's quite some door, all right.
Yeah.
This might finally be it. The heart of the beast.
It.
We'll find the Renis Alma and the Red Woman inside, right?
Maybe.
After everything we've been through to get here, they damn well better be.
No.
We'll probably be needing you to open this one for us, Sovereign.
Go for it, Alphen.
Hmm. And here we go. It is
Guys.
time.
Time to see what secrets are in store.
How do I keep him in this outfit? Yeah, no more, well, maybe for a little bit. It won't be for long.
We're a long way from the residential
Yeah.
quarters now.
Yes.
It looks completely different.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, this place... it reminds me more of being back inside the Wedge.
Except the Danon astral energy feels even stronger here.
In a portion of the city reserved purely for the Renin Sovereign.
Maybe he just has strange tastes?
This place looks like it has been here for quite some time now. If its design were a matter of personal preference, we would be talking from centuries ago.
You
Or
guys.
perhaps even
will
further back.
see.
Still, this isn't the sort of decadence
Maybe.
of taste spoken of in artistic circles. So what is it then?
Hold up, decadence? Artistic circles?
When a preference is indulged to its extreme, it descends into kitsch, eccentricity for the sake of it. I'd be happy to illuminate you further.
Just go
That
with
depends. Does it involve you buying
Just
me
go
lunch?
with it. Well,
The void that art fills isn't the stomach, it's the soul.
In that case, I'll let you know the next time my soul starts
Okay.
to rumble.
Now all we need is something to fill up the void inside your head.
Shut up!
Ishmael, such a brat. Rat face.
Volron! He really was still alive.
Yeah.
And there's the Renis Alma. Then, is this another spirit channeling ceremony?
Wait though, something doesn't seem right here.
Place. Once more, the powers must be united. Born from the fires of chaos, the world does seek its rightful state. All must be sacrificed in the heart of Renna, at the shrine of the true sovereign.
What has happened to him? He's lost himself, reduced to a mere cog in a machine.
Hey look, over there.
Yep, Brucey Martin.
crest? Can it be that this entire chamber is meant to act as a substitute for the maiden?
It looks like it's still running, but... are we already too late to stop the ceremony?
If that's what caused Lenegis' transformation, then the purpose of the ceremony must have been to drain all the astral energy out of Dana.
But for what purpose? What What could possibly need astral energy on that sort of scale?
I don't know.
Maybe Edgy
Whatever
Boy
it is,
needs it.
I'll bet it's connected to those visions of oblivion. Regardless,
Bootleg around.
we cannot stand by and let them steal Dana's energy. That said, we should retrieve the Renaissance. Because right now, we need that most of all.
Oh, you're not getting it. Oh, I was talking about that easy, Alpha. Calm down.
He's not gonna lunge at us out of nowhere, right?
Not the time, Law.
Alvin, look!
The Red Woman!
Yeah,
So we
there she
finally
is.
found you. I have a lot of questions for you.
Wait!
Just say something to us.
They all have the same face? How is that even possible?
Oh, great, many of them. Hey guys, you got some turns. Was sucking. Was a villain.
What is this?
Who the hell are they?
It can't be. Are they even people?
It's hard to know for sure, but I think
Now
they're
it's
the true rulers of Rena.
How do you know that, Alton? Yeah, so much for cool looks.
They're not feeling
We don't
particularly...
even get that. We just
It's no use,
Thanks.
Elton. If we don't fight, we may as well be sitting ducks here.
Good point. Let's stop them before this gets out of hand. Double demon fang!
yeah, they're cool. Keep your normal, original, unique look. But nah. They're not that.
Glacial
Oh, buddy. What's your first?
Take this!
Ignite!
Jesus, no. Super, no, not that. Not that. Never.
Glacial spear. Pierce evil.
Here's a healing art. First aid. Now. This ends now.
Consider yourself finished.
Take of the abyssal deep. Clear for us.
Indignation? I'm gonna keep making that joke. I'm gonna keep making that joke, indignation. It tells me this character that uses indignation. He ends it with sends now. Indignation.
Surrender! Fighting is useless now!
That's where I got that.
Do you think it's really over?
No.
Astral energy. Watch out! They've got something up their sleeve.
What?
It's self-destructed?
Alvin!
I'm okay.
Ooh,
Just a
that's
little
not
roughed
good.
up.
You had me worried there.
Who said you
Okay.
could touch that?
Hey. Yeah. Hi, Voron.
Damn it! He's awake!
I should have thought as much.
Yeah.
So you know this place?
Naturally, it was built for me, after all. We'll save that for another time. More pressing is how I'm going to take
Probably
it
not gonna
apart.
explain.
Even after all this time, you still insist on hating me?
You cut me down, sovereign or not.
Clearly, Alvin.
We'll pay for that.
You're obviously bluffing. You can't even move right now.
Really, is that what you think? Did you really think that such a petty device could hold me?
Are you going to claim it's because you're a ruler? Be it sovereigns or lords. In the end, they're all titles given by someone else.
Plus, what kind of ruler would spend all his time chasing Alf, who happens to be another sovereign?
Idle pride.
Yeah, one
I
thing.
proved my worth and the Sovereign's powers were granted to me.
Were they really? We already know the title of sovereign doesn't denote royalty. It is but an overblown code name for those with a designated part to play in these proceedings. You mentioned before that you were not the only one stolen from Dana, correct?
Yeah. There were countless. And every one of them besides me died.
All of those failed experiments, and they still
And
kept going
Volron,
back to
don't forget
Dana.
that.
There must have been some vital reason their subject had to specifically be a Danan. Then there were the records we found in the library, for you and Volron. They were logged 300 years apart, and yet the data they took from you was exactly the same. Which leads us to a single conclusion.
Then you mean Boran was kidnapped just like Alphen? But then he became
A slave from Dana.
Yes, you're the damn.
Just like us. Isn't that right, Volron?
So he posed as a Renin and caused all that suffering to his own people?
How could you? If you knew the pain of being a slave, why would you inflict that upon others?
Renan and Dana are meaningless distinctions. Me and everyone else. That is all that matters. I will stand above all others and take what is rightfully mine, starting with this.
A red woman.
Another one?
Give your master back on Rena this message. No one makes a fool of me. Let them know I'll make them suffer.
Okay, edgy boy.
Don't do it!
I'll be gone.
Serenus Alva!
Oh, snap.
It's too late. You can't stay here.
We need to go. Alphen!
Yeah, we gotta go. Come on, we gotta go. Run, guys, run. Chill. Come on, chill. Come on, we've got you. Come here. It's a girl. On you can fly. So pretty. What?
Go. But know I will be your shadow no matter where you try to run.
Let's go.
Where?
Never forget, I am the one
So
who
say,
powers everything.
rock or
The West is
more.
to neither spirit nor man. My word is law. I am.
Cool. Bitch.
Are you two okay?
Yeah. We'll be fine.
Is Volron... Have we finally seen the last of him?
We can but hope.
Those
No.
red women.
No.
What the heck was their deal?
Could they be the ones behind all this? The same ones who put those soldiers in Faria in a trance?
Riveting.
What? Those brainless things? Either way, they've done a runner with the Renaissance. Damn it, that's the second time now!
Whatever's stolen from us, we'll steal it back. The future's ours to protect. And right now, those things are what's standing in our way. We can head them off at Rena.
Did you say Rena?
Volron mentioned a master of theirs holed up in the motherland somewhere.
If that monstrous form's their true identity, I shudder to think who they take orders from.
Yeah. There's a good chance it's not human. That's for sure.
So this thing over on Rena, that's what's really behind all this, huh?
They have the Renaissance in their grasp already, so
Most
it's unlikely
likely.
they'll have cause to return to Dana. I agree that Rena's our best shot.
Then we're agreed. Let's head back to the starship.
But seriously, I was not expecting Volron to actually be here.
He seemed to care not one whit about Brennan's or
Really
Dan's.
was.
Yeah, not in a good way like with us.
I didn't see that coming about Volron. As for those red women, to think they were monsters all along.
Tell me about it. One minute they look perfectly human. Next thing you know, they're not actually human at all.
They definitely weren't Renan or Danon. I'm not even sure language would get through to them.
So what were they then?
Funny as
Human Zoogle hybrids?
Is the most terrifying thing anyone said all day.
Eh.
How about you, Shion? Doily? You ever seen anything like that before?
No, never. However, if they're the same as the Red Woman we've
I
seen
don't
with
think so.
Volron, I think it's safe for us to assume they understand our language at the very least.
I had just so much I wanted to ask them. About Rena. And Shion's thorns.
Unfortunately, they blew themselves up before we got the chance. Why would they do such a thing, though? To take us with them? Or in order to keep something hidden?
Both sound
Convenience.
plausible to my ears. They took off with the Renaissance too, remember?
Yeah, they did. And the next time we meet them, we're going to make sure they tell us everything they know.
You sure they didn't talk? Dolphin? They seem a little unsentient. Well, maybe they're sentient, but they don't really help us. Didn't think we really care, man. Well, let's get out of here. Simple as possible, soon. Yeah, Volron's here. Volron's unique. He's certainly a unique villain, I'll give him that. Alright, but we're getting here. Yeah, this music's not bad.
No choice.
Ah. Yeah, sure. That's like your best, yeah. That they're like those characters and some of the best characters.
Barely a blip on our radar.
Jade fucking Curtis. Gosh. Darn it. Every time I hear that song, that battle remind me of Jade, because every time in Abyss, that song played, I swear, I don't know why, but Jade would always respond with, you have your choice.
Your reflexes will not serve you well here.
I'm ready.
Barely a blip on our radar.
Unless I remember wrong, which, that's what extremely confused me. If I remember that wrong, that's not actually for Abyss. Because I remember something similar to it for Abyss. It's been a while since I played Abyss, but Abyss is my favorite. So that would be very embarrassing. It was like, that song's not from Abyss. What's wrong with you? Yeah. And they claim it is, but there's a song similar, and I'm just reminded Jade saying that fun line. It makes me happy. Nostalgic. No, unfortunately, I don't have a way to play this. I wish I could, though. Well, no, I can play this. I have it. I just don't have recording software for it. I have Abyss
What
both PS2.
When did it get pitch dark all of a sudden?
The lights are all out.
Nintendo 3DS.
Think it has something to do with the explosion back in the Forbidden Zone? Joe?
You two.
Faria, Avakir. Thank goodness you're safe.
Avakir filled me in
But
about
nothing,
everything. About how I ambushed you all.
But I can't record anything.
She doesn't remember a thing. So she really was being controlled.
He told me
Seems
about
like it.
Tarnigan too. Is it true?
What difference does it make? What's done is done.
Stop casting
Yeah.
me off, just for once.
Faria, not now. It can wait. Dohalim, Lenegus is in grave peril.
So I can see.
Yes, seriously.
It's the city's core reactor. It's damaged. Some of the basic systems we've managed to keep online, but complete restoration's still a way off.
You're an elite technician, though. You can fix it, right?
If so, then what's the problem?
Panic's begun to set in among the citizens.
Excuse me.
Until now, whenever something like this happened, the Sovereign would issue a decree. But this time, not so much as a peep. Any longer, and we run the risk of riots breaking out before we can get things back up and running.
Forget the Sovereign. I doubt you'll be hearing from him anytime soon.
What's that supposed to mean? Do you know something I don't?
Suffice it to say, the Sovereign isn't the kind of ruler we thought he was. That is, if he ever even existed, which is looking doubtful at this stage.
Are you out of your mind?
Are you sure you told
If
that?
people knew that a lord such as yourself was whispering such blasphemy, they'd...
There's no time to explain now. It sounds like we need to find a way to keep Lenegus from spiraling out of control.
We need to stop that riot.
But how do we do that?
Riots feed on discontent and unrest, right? So if we want to keep the peace, we just need to put people's minds at ease.
At ease? Like by letting them
Yeah.
hear directly from someone they trust. That's it. Who's the highest ranking person in Lenegus right now?
Lennigus wouldn't have a next in line. After all, you said the Sovereign rules over everyone directly, right?
Correct. The closest thing to an
Yeah.
authority figure
Yes,
would be
sir.
a lord. And the only one left is... Ah. Very well then.
You.
Avakir, you mentioned a few
take your
facilities were still
throne.
online. Which ones?
Why
Take
hasn't
your
the
seat,
Sovereign
kid.
said anything?
Please, won't somebody explain what's going on?
Is it over? What's going to happen to all of us?
Heed me now, fellow
It's okay.
Wendys of Lennigus. It is I, Lord Dohalim Ilkaris of Elderman and Sia.
Look, up there! It's Lord Dohalim!
Hold on! He should be in the crown contest! Shouldn't he? Why isn't the Sovereign talking to us?
The Sovereign is seeing to other matters right now. In my capacity as Lord, I speak to you in his stead. You're afraid. As people so often are when faced with the unknown. I hope you'll allow me to put your fears to rest. The city's core reactor has experienced a malfunction. However, we have our top engineers attending to the matter, and things will soon be back to normal. I know that you feel abandoned, perhaps more scared and alone than ever before. But I ask you all to keep one thing in mind. You are Lennigus, not the Lords and Sovereign. The solidarity of its citizens is the mortar that holds it together. If we don't allow ourselves to be distracted by our differences, if we put our hearts and minds together and stand as one, I am confident we will find new hope. I would be honored to stand with you. Not as a person of loftier rank, but as another human being among many. I hope that you'll lend me your strength, for if we can persevere as one, I know a bright tomorrow awaits.
Good job, Dohalim. Such a good
Your
boy.
speech seems to have done the trick. Looks like the city won't be descending into chaos after all.
I only pray the relief will tide the
yeah.
city over for the time being.
What you said earlier, about the Sovereign possibly not even existing, was it true?
It's still too premature to say
It
with any
is.
certainty. But I believe so. This whole time, this world we've been fed was a lie. Built on nothing but falsehoods.
But it can't all have been...
I can believe it. After everything I saw in the Forbidden Zone, what they did to Faria, it's the only explanation that makes sense.
But what about hierarchy, Avakir? Authority? The very foundations of Renan society? How can we live without someone to guide us?
I'd say we found someone capable of doing just that, wouldn't you?
Dohalim?
You? You can't be serious.
I have business I must
Why
take care
not?
of first. But once
Let
everything is
Dohalim be your
over,
king.
I shall return.
Yeah, Dohalim can be the king.
But not as your sovereign. Nor as a leader, the likes of which the people here are used to, I think.
But how else do you propose to rule?
I'm not sure yet. All I have is a feeling that here in Lennigus, a new dawn is on the verge of breaking. One in which people won't be judged by birthright, or on the power of their astral arts, but on other things. More important things. Things like... oh, I don't know. Musical talent, for example.
When I bumped into you after all those years, I said you were no different. But I was wrong. Truth is, you were always
Because you're
different.
stupid.
I feel like maybe now I can finally begin to accept Turnigan's death. To see a future.
You go finish whatever it is you've got to do. I'll hold down the fort here in Lennigus till you get back.
Thank you.
Nice.
I guess you're not going to make it to Menancia for the foreseeable future, huh?
Indeed. Forgive me.
The people of Elda Menancia can look
Gonna
after
miss 'em?
themselves just fine. It's the ones here on Lenegus who need someone to guide them. Besides, with you leading the people here, it'll help spread the idea of coexistence beyond Menancia's borders that much faster.
Sounds like you're in it for the long haul.
How could I not be, after the second chance that I've been granted? From this day forth, I shall dedicate myself to the future inhabitants of this world. Though the memories of the departed shall remain forever in my
Alright.
heart.
Remember, you're going to be leading the people here, not ruling them.
True enough. Whatever would I do without you, Kisara?
Doug
With or
Sara.
without, I suspect you're gonna have your hands full when the time comes. We should be heading back to the ship. Business on Rena awaits. Looks like the people of Lenegus can rest easy.
I couldn't have done it without your words of encouragement, Law.
Hey, you're the one who made the speech.
I think everybody can share the credit here.
No, you can't. You will never be able to share the credit with Rob. Ever. But we do need to get out of here. I haven't played a lot of Tears of the Kingdom recently. Got out of the labyrinths. It's really fun. That's cool stuff. A lot of fun with it. Oh, Tears of the Kingdom, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom is really fun. I did play Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild I wasn't really much of a fan of. I'll be honest. I don't know, it's kind of boring to me. But I really like Tears of the Kingdom. Really fun. Playing that in the downtime. Who knows, I may even be playing it right now. Shocker. Yeah, actually, while I'm recording this, I'm actually playing Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know why, it kind of helps. You know, multitasking. Playing a game while talking about a game. I do plan to start some of my thoughts on the game and review it. I'm trying not to say everything in the beginning, because, you know, I don't want to. Well, my eggs aren't rolling yet. Alright. There we go, this popsicle stand. It beats the song I ran to during Best Builders too. It had similar beats to that. Well, something happens in the end game of that. During Best Builders 2. There's a song with a similar beat to it like this. Pretty cool.
What?
out was so horrible to people. Yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
Yeah.
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Annabelle also had people who cared about
They were not good people.
her to the very end.
They're pretty
Why
black and
couldn't he
white.
extend that to us Danans?
They're pretty black and white. So don't try to redeem them, game. It's not a matter of redemption. They have a redemption. All the lords were cartoon villains. Like, seriously.
I thought we'd find
So,
answers
don't
on
do that.
Lenegus, but we just ended up finding more questions.
You can say that again. And now we have more problems to fix too. Like figuring out how to reform Lenegus.
Yep.
That can wait for now. We've got more than enough on our plates to deal with as it is. Like figuring out who's really running the show on Rena.
Yeah. Which is why we're going to the Renan homeworld.
All the answers we've been looking for are on that planet. The person responsible for all this. The Red Woman and the Renaissance. The answers have to be there. Are we prepared to finally find them?
So, what do we do first when we get there?
We know nothing about the Renan homeworld or what we might face once we arrive. We should get a feel for how things are on the ground before we take any serious steps.
It's also entirely possible that the first thing we're going to face is an attack.
If we come across a capital, we should...
What?
What?
Uh-oh. Hi. Sparkling. Well, shit. This sucks. They all dead. They may all be dead. Well, I guess it's the game. Back it up, guys. They're all dead. Oh, gosh. Nah, they're fine.
Damn! The hell just happened?
Our course has been altered. The coordinates are pointing to a different destination.
What's that?
The ship's controls aren't accepting my commands. The engine is being shut down.
That's bad, right?
Yeah.
Quite bad. We've lost control of the ship.
Is all of this the Red Women's doing?
Are they trying to finish us off before we can land?
Everyone! Look there!
Look at that, it's a Death Star. Just say things start to go a bit wild. Yes. Things go wild. Oh dear. Not good. Namco went better.
A flower blooming out of Rena?
But that flower looks like it's absorbing all of Dana's energy.
And it appears Lenegis is serving as a conduit for that energy to reach here.
Why not?
Could that have been its true purpose all along?
Why not?
If that's
Sure.
true, do you think the people back on Lenegis are all right?
Maybe.
We can only pray that they are.
Damn it! Haven't they taken enough already? When is this going to end?
The Flower of Oblivion.
With everything that's happening, we need to get back to Lenegis.
Yeah.
Is the ship still offline?
Unfortunately, yes. Even more so than when it lay dormant.
Can you fix it?
Starships are extremely complex machines. One wrong move while we're out here in space could very well cost us our lives.
So
Be
what?
careful.
We're just stuck inside here, floating around? For how long?
Just wait, Renwell.
I don't believe this.
I'm sure something
We've made it all
convenient
this
will
way,
happen.
and now we're stuck here.
Alright?
We're watching Dana die before our eyes, and we have no choice but to sit here and starve to death?
Law, calm down.
Yeah, seriously.
You're not the only one who's worried here.
Right. Sorry.
Just calm down, man.
It's still too early to give up. There has to be a way to get out of this.
Alphen.
Oh, you okay?
Now what?
The starship, it's back online?
No, this is different. Something is pulling our ship in towards it.
RP by why not?
We managed to get moving, but where are we?
It looks like Lenegis in here.
Do you think we might run into more Renans here? Or those red women?
He might, so be careful.
Perhaps. Someone brought us here. The question is, who?
We haven't been ambushed, so that probably means they aren't hostile. Still, why would anyone want to bring us here?
Hey, Shion!
If they wanted to attack us, they could have done so while we were back on the starship. We should see where this path takes us.
Well, be careful, at least. Sheesh. She get hurt.
I still can't get over what we saw happening outside the starship.
Yeah, our planet's really not doing too hot right about now.
No.
I've only ever seen Rena from the surface of Dana, so I figured it was just another round planet like ours. Still though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that. And what's the deal with that giant flower coming out of it?
Beats me. I have absolutely no clue. It's so surreal. It looks like a broken egg or something.
Rena and Dana. We were taught that both worlds were spherical bodies that floated amongst the stars in the heavens. But to think that they lied to us not only about the Sovereign and the Crown contest, but also the form of our own planet.
Dohalim.
Okay, who's the wise guy that summoned us here?
Someone formidable enough to bring our starship along with us.
They must be here somewhere. Let's find them.
Be careful, guys.
Kisara? Anyone at home in there?
Sorry. Did I look distracted?
Among other things.
What's
To
wrong?
be entirely honest, I couldn't tell whether you were smiling or frowning.
You were thinking about Dohalim, weren't you?
That obvious, huh? I was just thinking how good it is to see him moving forward at last.
Oh.
It was always so infuriating, knowing how capable he could be if he just put his mind to it. A prisoner trapped in a cage of his own self-doubt. But now, he's finally beginning to spread his wings. I'm happy for him.
It's good.
So, then why do you look so sad?
Oh, I don't know if I'd say sad. There's a bittersweetness to it, I guess. It's good and strange, knowing that he won't be needing me anymore.
Oh.
It probably sounds
You
weird,
get to
doesn't
be
it?
friends.
I have this massive worry off my mind. I should be jumping up and down for joy, right?
Must be that maternal instinct of yours at work.
Rinwell's right. You're like a mother bird, finally letting go as her child takes his first shaking and nervous flight from the nest.
A pretty big child.
That's one way to look at it. I wouldn't like to see Dohalim's face if he heard you say that. All this has made me realize I can't allow myself to become a prisoner of my own making like he was. If Dohalim can forge his own path ahead, then I can too. I won't be left behind.
Good. Good old Kasara. You know it's coming. Your voice to reason. She's really good at that. Now let's see what we got here.
This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Yeah? Yeah.
Huh? What's that? It's one of those!
A red
It's
woman
blue?
in disguise. Or is this their true form?
So it was a trap?
Don't be too hasty.
It doesn't look like it can move. Tell me, are you the one who brought us here?
Clearly.
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
You're so nice.
It can talk.
What are you?
Hevrek
I've wrecked?
35.
Have you wrecked?
Hevrect 35. Is that your name?
Correct.
What is this place? No, wait, before that, just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of red women who can shift into the same form
Because they're
as
the
you.
little meanie pants.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
What do you mean, serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
Uh-oh.
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way. Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Oh, goody. More riddles.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here. Let's at least hear it out.
Anything interesting?
I shall now answer your questions. We are Helganquil. The red women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helganquil?
You are on Dake Phasal, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's great spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this great spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The Great Astral Spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
The voice of the Great Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it, without question, throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this great spirit be the true sovereign of Rena?
Sure.
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this great spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
Maybe not. Full time, just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Shut up.
Yeah, but...
Let's assume that what Hevrect 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's great spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The Wedge and Lenegus are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy. And the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana.
Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed. And it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest. Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegus was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renasolma.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Renasolma required a vast amount of energy. That is why we turned to Dana.
So that was the real purpose behind the crown contest. An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
This is all happening because of me.
Nevertheless, you still haven't answered one of Alphen's original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrect 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish for you all to slay the Great Spirit.
I'm sorry, did you just ask us to kill your master?
Yeah, that's what he said.
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might add.
What makes you say that?
Lenegus has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan. As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested en masse and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean... you're dying?
At this stage, it would be wise for you to talk with the others. Ask them what you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
Others? Just how many of you are there?
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits Dake Phasal.
Hey! Hey!
It's no use. I think it's done talking to us. Let's take a look around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, Shion, just in the nick of time. Here, lend me a hand while I...
No!
What the... Oh, right. The thorns. My bad.
No, I'm the one who should apologize. I overreacted.
Again, Law? Can't you even go a minute without putting your foot in your mouth?
Seriously, it's fine. I'd rather that than people feeling like they're walking on eggshells around me. Besides, I'm the one who should be vigilant about not touching you guys, not the other way around.
Actually, I've been meaning to ask. Not being able to touch people. Does
I
it ever
thought it
get
would.
lonely sometimes?
I guess I never really thought about it in those terms. It was either accept it for what it was, or come undone. Before long, it was just part of my everyday reality. I think I even forgot there was another way to live. Which isn't to say I didn't feel alone. I did. Always.
So numb to your reality, you couldn't even recognize it as loneliness? I don't know how you managed.
It's fine. I know I'm not alone anymore.
But I can't even touch you. No way of lending you a shoulder when you're down? Even Alphen.
I appreciate the concern. Until I get rid of these thorns, I guess I'll have to put up with it just a little longer. But not forever. Alphen promised me that. Maybe it'll be soon, maybe it won't be. But either way, the day will come. And I'll be ready when it does.
Yeah, just hang in there. One day, we'll share a big warm hug. You'll see. I promise.
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told us, right? I mean, it's practically blackmailing us into doing its dirty work.
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it. How about you, Dohalim? Were you able to follow it at all?
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events comes back to astral energy. That being said, had we not previously encountered the will of Dana, I suspect I would find its story much more difficult to believe.
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dana completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that creates and shapes the world.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let it destroy Dana.
Right.
There is one other thing that concerns me. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans? How do they factor into all this?
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevric 35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on. Maybe the others will shed more light on the
It's
matter.
pretty out of nowhere.
Let's find out.
A lot of talking back and forth, back and forth. A big story time. Story time. Everyone's like, story time.
Who are they?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renan?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
Okay.
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevric 35 when he mentioned that Overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dana and Rena, do you?
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Yeah, we should.
Have you guys lived up here in Dag Fazel with Hevric 35 for a long time?
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though. We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegus from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility had been destroyed.
And you've been working for Hevric 35 ever since?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out the Overseer was there all along.
What do you mean?
The Helganquil have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why Shion and I failed to
That's
notice the Red
alright.
Women previously. Do they employ an astral
be
art of
something
some
cool.
sort?
I haven't been able to
Like you have
scientifically
some
confirm
blood or
it for
something?
myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control to get us to do what they wanted without being detected. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids
Yes.
any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lenegus is still run.
But aren't the Helganquil themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in the same way?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquil, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us Renans.
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Hevrek 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored,
Lame.
or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegis? Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon. You could ride with us.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright. After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold instead. Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further. That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
Thank you for answering our questions.
Useful, I guess, we know something.
Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquil.
You mean the Overseer's species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the
Yes.
ruins down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Danans by the Helganquil.
They're Danans.
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't, but there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language, people of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquil are on the verge of extinction, yes? In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Danans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there. That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Danans that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use Astro Arts on Dana now.
Helganquil technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgeries. They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and—
Enough! You needn't tell us anymore.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquil are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
So lords are all innocent.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
Little thieves.
Does he really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
Dohalim.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in the face.
Then let's hope this is our last revelation for a while.
Yep. Yep. So there's never reason to fight anyway, or else I...
Do you know anything about a spirit channeling plan?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective was?
Yes. It was to use Lenegis to siphon off Dana's astral energy and send it to Rena.
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large quantity of astral energy without it becoming sentient. Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dana's energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner. However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied. The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans in Helganquil that day.
Yep.
For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral energy types. To amend that, we set our sights on Dana, and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
And the crown contest began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps. A new Sovereign had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things, it would appear such worries were unfounded.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
Flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dana. As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Hevric 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage. Is that true?
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes, and yet here we are. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about to happen.
He talks like the potential end of the world is just another day on the job.
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a long time. Who knows what shape their minds are in?
They're going Cocoa Pops.
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down. Is there anything we know that's still true at this point?
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden stuff.
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to say that we've found the answers we've been looking for. Does everyone agree?
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to Rena's great spirit being behind everything.
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of astral energy.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Helganquil. Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Danans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well is likely because they were originally Danans all along.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much, even. We should probably take it easy and rest our minds a bit. Why don't we all take some time to think things over, before we decide on our next move?
That's a good idea, Kisara. If the Renan Great Spirit really is behind all this, then we've got a really big fight ahead of us. Because it's not just Dana on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure of ourselves. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger, so we should be okay. You sure you don't want to be alone right now?
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around and checking up on everybody.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear what's on everyone's minds too.
Sounds good. Let's go find them.
Everyone's just gone their own way, huh?
Yeah, let's
They're
hit
trying to figure out what the hell has happened to this plot. That's what they're doing. Ugh. Ugh.
I still can't believe it, man.
You're not the only one still trying to make sense of all this. Believe me.
Really? You've never struck me as the type of guy to get hung up on these sorts of things.
Did you forget what happened back in Thistleum? Once my memories started coming back to me, I felt completely and totally lost.
It was really that bad for you?
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law and everybody else, I remembered that I still had things out there worth fighting for.
Man, I think you might be a better guy than me, Alphen. All I can remember thinking was, when's this guy gonna get his act together?
Law.
I was too worried about repeating the same mistakes I'd made back with my dad, and running away from the truth. That was no way to live. And I've tried to stay strong, my way. But all this talk about other races and the world ending, if I can be honest with you guys, it's just all too much for me to handle right now.
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is not to worry too much about the big stuff right now.
Oh?
I used to worry all the time about my thorns, for obvious reasons, but I never really opened up to anyone about them. And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me, I didn't know what I should do, or who to tell. But that's when I finally got it. You guys were all there for me, to teach me what's really important. I just had to open up and listen.
In other words, if you let the big picture stuff get you all muddled up inside, you'll begin to lose sight of what you really care about. Yeah, I think you're right.
The thing that's most important, what I really care about. All I want to do is protect the people that really matter to me, to fight for them. That's good enough, right?
Not everyone is strong enough to fight.
Huh?
It's something your dad told me once when he was still alive. Law, you know you're strong enough to fight, and you're strong enough to protect the people you care about. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of what you want to protect in the first place. Sound good?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it does. It's like a big weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I'll fight to protect the people around me. Just like I always have. I think that's best.
Just do that, okay? What's your fault, man? You're not in trouble, okay?
You both seem awfully calm.
Only because after everything we've seen, we don't have the energy to keep being shocked.
How are you holding up, Rinwell? That whole talk about the Renans looked like it shook you up a bit.
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Danon mages like my family were persecuted and died out. And now, I finally know why that is. But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Danons again, then mages won't be such an unusual thing to see on Dana anymore, right? I know it's not as simple as all that, but Danons probably won't be so quick to let their guards down. And there might be Renans who still act superior because of their arts.
It wouldn't surprise me. 300 years of bad blood and prejudice isn't going to be an easy thing to overcome.
Yeah. I know firsthand just how much hatred can take hold in your heart once you let it in. But even so, I was still able to change. And if I can change, so can anyone else. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a Danon and a mage to help bring both sides together.
Rinwell,
That great spirit worries me too, though. Dana's will feels so warm and inviting. So why is Rena's will trying to destroy our entire planet?
Now that you mention it, Everett 35 and the other scientists here never really brought that up. Maybe they don't know either.
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day, Dana's still our home. There's
Honestly,
no
probably
way
doesn't
we
even
can
know
let it be
that.
destroyed.
We won't. We'll keep it safe no matter what.
I don't think anyone knows, so don't worry about it. Yeah.
Oh, it's you two. Does he seem like he's doing any better now?
He who? Oh, you mean Dohalim, don't you?
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all, but he looked like he was taking it really hard earlier.
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renans, the Great Spirit, and all that?
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, the Great Spirit is like a huge natural disaster, but with a mind and will of its own. But if that thing's hell-bent on trying to destroy our planet, then the only thing left for us to do is stop it. As for the Renans, I suppose my feelings on that are a bit more mixed.
How so?
Coexistence between Danans and Renans in Menancia is still a work in progress. In my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still on guard around Renans. So, to be told that they're like us, that they're actually just like us is, well, I guess it's a little deflating, to be honest.
You kept a pretty level head.
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helganquil and the Great Spirit are the ones who are responsible. But at the same time, I realize that not every Danan is necessarily going to believe that either.
I know you're already aware of this, but the list of grievances the Danans have against the Renans is long, and understandably so. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same, yeah, I don't think they're going to take to it too kindly.
Even just among the Danans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge with power, and some who won't. I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance, then we'll be in a truly good place.
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do about the existing conflicts we have.
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people could learn to get past their hatred like Rinwell did.
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen and ask people to forget their very real pain and suffering.
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. But if we just keep yelling at each other about it, we'll never move on. In a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even more people getting killed.
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not just that, but to also embrace each other's pain, in a sense.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
It's true. Everybody has their own scars, their own trauma. The first step to healing those wounds is to put aside that hatred. It won't be achieved through reasoning, but I think it's a good first step, if nothing else. And now, I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need to make sure our planet isn't going to get wiped out.
Our world is a lie.
I apologize for making you witness that.
You mean hearing the origins of the Renans?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible fade away in mere seconds.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here is actually true.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, it's a rather elaborate one. I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned, Alphen. And you as well, Shion. About your thorns, and being a maiden.
That's just part of being alive, don't you think?
Well, to say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned for myself. What concerns me is all of the other Renans out there.
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are living on Lenegis or Dana, right?
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dana, our problems will still remain. Putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there, we will have to think long and hard about where it is that we wish to return to.
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis or come down to Dana, huh? And right now, Lenegis might not even be a safe option.
And at the same time, Danans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If the issue is forced, things could turn dire. There is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred to overcome between us. And the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to feel animosity towards us Renans. Our own circumstances as the aggressors are irrelevant.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be so down about people reconciling.
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck. There had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks. Still, even now, there remain ardent dissidents.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on Lenegis, after this is all over?
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that responsibility. In that regard, I remain determined. On that note, I have something of a favor to ask of you, Alphen.
Oh? What is it?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator, so that the Renans can live on Dana peaceably. As the one and only Blazing Sword, I suspect the Danans may listen to what you have to say when problems arise.
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent the Renans?
Yes. I realize that I'm asking quite a lot of you. However, the fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Danan society without any bloodshed. That is why...
You're the same as ever, Dohalim.
Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking for a favor. Listen, there's no need for that. We're friends.
You're too kind. I can see you were raised well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again, this time just as friends. Alphen, will you help me?
You don't even need to ask.
Yeah.
Of course I will.
Thank you, my friend.
Well, it sounds like everyone's learning from their past and using it to create a better future for everyone.
What about you, Shion? How do you feel about the origin of the Renans?
To be honest, I'm not really all that shocked, actually. I mean, I might be a Renan in the literal sense, but I've never really felt like one of them. Right now, it's kind of a mystery.
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, all I ever thought about was how I was going to die. Not if or when, but how. I thought I'd die alone. That fate had me in its steely grip. I would have never imagined that I'd be traveling with someone like you, fighting to save Rena and Dana. I mean, how could I have? It's been going on for 300 years. All this tragedy and destruction. When you consider the Helganquil's part in all this, it's been even longer than that. It was Naori's hope that somehow, someone in the future would be able to stop it, before it was too late. How it fell on us, of all people, to heed that call, is a mystery.
I don't think Naori was hoping that we would just stop the world from getting destroyed. She considered me, a Danon, as a real person. And she very much cherished her own people, too. I don't think she wanted the world to be saved, just so they could go back to hurting each other. Oh, maybe this is what she meant.
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, about all that stuff like everyone's needing to meet halfway and embrace each other's pain and suffering. She said that the first step down that path was for each of us to put aside our own hatred. That means forgiving other people, even and especially before they forgive you.
Forgiving. So it goes both ways, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I don't just mean forgiving things that happened in the past either. Conflicts will keep happening. If we have any hope of moving on and building a better future, we have to all learn to forgive each other.
You know, you're right. People can hurt one another without even meaning to. I know that better than most, thanks to these thorns.
It's not going to be easy getting past this pain. But if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when we can all truly understand each other. I'm there with you, Shion. I too want to protect the world we live in, and all the people we care about. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori for everything that she did.
Yeah. I want a future that she would feel proud to live in, and I'm going to fight for it.
Whoa there, Savior Girl.
Good.
We're here to save you too, you know.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I want to live, and that's the honest truth.
Good. You're important too, Shion.
Well, is everybody ready to do what needs to be done?
I am. There's a lot to think about, but at the end of the day, Dan is still in danger. I don't care who we're up against. We'll kick their ass.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know what's on your mind, too.
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on Rena, and so be it. It's trying to rob us of our entire world. And it's going to take not just our home, but all of existence along with it. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to be tied to us saving Shion.
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in Lenegis, I take it?
Yeah. 3 centuries ago, the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony showed Naori that vision. And to hear Shion tell it, it's the same one that she sees from her own thorns as well.
Indeed. Shion's thorns are comprised of dark astral energy, the one type which we know is native only to Rena. And if Rena's great spirit is what's behind Dana's pending destruction, then...
Shion's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least, though, I think it's possible her thorns are a part of the Great Spirit.
While the main body resides in Rena.
Shion.
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's great spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a piece of my mind and then some.
Good. Let's do that. So kick some butt, take me
The
out.
question is, how do we confront it? Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of Rena is enormous, large enough to house the will of an entire planet. The Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome in their own right. This is an altogether greater challenge for merely 6.
And we only know about the Thorns' connection thanks to Naori.
Hevric 35 has been observing the great astral spirit this whole time. It wouldn't ask us to fight it unless it has a plan of some sort. Let's go see what that is. Our minds are made up. Let's go give Hevric 35 our answer.
Oh, yeah. Alright, let's go talk to him. Get this over with.
Do you have your answer for me?
We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. How exactly do you expect us to do that? You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated. Therefore, if you destroy the core, the Great Spirit shall become unable to maintain sentience and return to being ordinary astral energy.
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Wendys Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling astral energy. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the Sovereign shall wield the power of the Wendys Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Shion described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
By my calculations, your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the Maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
This method is the most simple one available to destroy the Great Spirit, and is therefore our most reliable option.
What are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so clear.
You don't get it. I promised Shion that she wouldn't die, that we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great Spirit, I want to hear it.
This plan shall lead to the fewest losses in preserving your world. Abandoning it is irrational.
That's...
It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena's great astral spirit already resides within her. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis correct.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the great astral spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile, and will only serve to strengthen it.
No.
Wait. Naori said that the Wendys Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns can be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Wendys Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the great astral spirit.
Yes!
However, Doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony, considering that the Renis Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed. I cannot allow it. Its uncertainty is simply too great.
What does that mean for us if you won't allow it?
Your starship will not be restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Why you?
Fine then. I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alvin?
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dana's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dana from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alvin.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Renis Alma are my species' greatest achievement. I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by its hands.
But what are we supposed to do about the Renis Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegus.
It is likely that the Renis Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dana's astral energy.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great Spirit and take it back?
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely concentrated in the center of Rena, where the Great Spirit's core is located.
So right in the middle of that giant flower, then.
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already integrated with the planet. What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario, the energy will disperse, and the Great Spirit will likely not reform.
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is recommended that you all escape before the final stage.
Man, I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for once.
Everett 35 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar, is all. Fix our starship. We're going to Rena.
Excellent.
But I want to make one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for your sake, or because you told us to. Remember that.
It matters little to me. The end result shall be the same. Repair work on your starship has commenced. You'll have to wait until it's finished.
Man, is it too much to ask for Everett 35 to talk like a normal person? I swear I can feel my brain starting to fry after listening to all that complicated stuff.
Don't worry. I think we're mostly done with him.
It's pretty convoluted. Honestly, I forgot about
Fall
some
Knight's
of
is
that.
good to go again. We'll be taking off for Rena right away.
Yeah, I honestly forgot about some of that. Unbelievable.
Is the Renis Alma really our only hope against the Great Spirit? There has to be another way, right?
Maybe.
Shion's Fire Master Core was able to suppress astral energy to prevent it from gaining sentience, right? Couldn't we make use of that somehow?
I'm not sure. In small doses, maybe. And with the amount of energy we're talking about here.
Back in Calaglia, the Blazing Sword was able to take in a whole spirit vessel's worth of energy. If it has the capacity to manage that, it can do this, right?
Except after it absorbed the energy, it ended up releasing it all moments later, remember? Let's not forget, it nearly killed you. Besides, this is the Great Spirit we're talking about, not a paltry vessel. Even if I could use the Master Core, your body wouldn't be able to take the strain of channeling that much energy.
Hevrect 35 didn't mention it, and it did not seem the type to skimp on details. So assuming it's even possible, the chances are slim to none.
You're probably right.
The story's crumbling apart. Ugh. Ugh. It's time to rest up.
You still thinking about what the scientists told us?
Clearly.
About where Renans really come from?
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Danans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head-on, don't you?
Certainly.
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living,
Yeah, you did.
and not the dead. Even as I dream of retirement, I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too.
Like what?
There was definitely a time when I hated Renans for who they were. I hated them just for being Renan. But you changed that, Dohalim.
Oh.
You gave me an opportunity to see them in a different light. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves, but as equals for the first time in our lives. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or bad, just like Danans.
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is.
They're all saying
when you can pull
people.
someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can relate to.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers of Renans and Danans alike. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get along.
Clearly.
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find better luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more? That's the ideal future you hope to see when this is all over?
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost. Do you still plan to return to Lenegis when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegis proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come get me. I'll always be there for you, Doe.
Oh?
Did you just... Never mind. Thank you, Kisara. I appreciate your patience as I work all this out.
Don't even mention it. And really, when you think about it, now that we know the two of us aren't so different after all, don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know, I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. But I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
The old, mature couple. Next is the childish couple. And the passionate young love is
Hey,
next.
why'd you call me here? Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Well,
Let's face it, that's what this is.
if everything we've heard about the Great Spirit is true, then we're getting close to our final battle.
Yeah.
So I wanted to apologize while I can.
Apologize? For what?
I was being real stupid before. About whether Dana's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was being questioned. So, I'm sorry, Rinwell. Really. I should have kept my mouth shut.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have been onto something. Of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible force pulling our strings this whole time?
But you really trust Dana's will, don't you? Is it because you can sense it a lot more than the rest of us? Because you can understand it?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But I also want to believe it's good.
Believe?
Remember how I used to really resent coming from a family of mages?
Yeah, of course. Because you were always on the run and had to live in hiding.
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to... It was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning. Even if that
Don't worry
meaning
about that.
was only helping you guys fight. Then, when I felt Dana's will, I was overwhelmed by how vast and warm it was. It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it. It made me believe I had a bigger purpose.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost need it to be kind.
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
There's no way for me to know for sure one way or the other, right? But you trust it, Rinwell, and that's enough for me. So I'll trust it because you do.
Remember what I said about neither planet's great spirit reaching us here?
Yeah?
That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside you and everyone else.
You... what?
I sensed it when we first got here. It's a really small amount, so it doesn't feel like it has a will of its own. But I think that's how Dana's energy probably is too.
So you're saying there's a little bit of Dana's will inside each of us? In a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dana's will?
What?
Well, like you said, unless Dana's energy comes together, it has no will. So if we all have a little bit of Dana's astral energy inside us...
Yeah, maybe...
Effort 35 might know the answer. But, you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own. I fight for who I want to fight for. That's who I am now. Who I've become. So thanks, Rinwell, for sharing that with me.
Ah.
To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dana's will... Well, I mean, it mostly was... I feel like you and I had grown apart lately, and I was worried it was because...
Huh?
Never mind. Nothing. Just forget about it.
Huh? No. What were you saying?
Saying? I don't remember
Come
saying
on.
anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were
No,
thinking?
that's not what I'm saying.
Then spit it out already.
Kids. And lastly, this is basically the night before the final battle talk. If you play Telltale games. That's what this is.
You sure you don't want to get some rest?
I can't. I've got too much on my mind. Especially knowing how close our last battle
We're
is.
just Winsley's.
How are you doing, Shion?
Same as you. Still trying to absorb everything.
Remember when it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dana?
Yep.
All of that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Ages and ages ago. Everything that's happened since we first met. So many fights, so much chaos, so many wonderful people.
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing sword or looked for something more. I wouldn't have my memories back. I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
Hey, Alphen. I want you to promise me something.
Yeah?
If we can't find the Renis Alma, there's something I want you to do. Like Hevrect 35 said, the only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after both the main body in Rena and the thorns in me. I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if for some reason we can't get the Renis Alma back, you'll use the blazing sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it.
Oh. Oh no.
It's true the blazing sword may not have the strength of the Renis Alma. But it's taken us this far. It's slain lords and beasts. At the very least, it has to be worth a try.
You can't be serious. Have you forgotten everything
Listen,
that we...
the Great Spirit isn't just our problem. It's a threat to our entire world. Renans and Danans alike. We don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need to be prepared for anything. We can't second-guess ourselves when the time comes. I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm prepared to fight with absolutely everything I've got. But if it comes down to it, I need you to be prepared too.
Okay. But you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Shion. I'm going to fight this until the very end.
Alright.
I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen. Okay, I understand. And I'll forgive you.
Thank you, Shion.
So
She's a good girl.
Then?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a promise.
We promise. Aww, cute.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me. My thorns made any contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. After they'd seen what could happen, fear would always linger behind their eyes. In my entire life, I never had someone willingly reach out to me. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, you didn't react at all. It was so easy for you. I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Yeah,
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, I felt this warmth that I had never known before. But still, I hate having to see you suffer through it every time you do.
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
You think so?
I do, because Shion,
No,
You can tell me once my thorns are gone. Okay?
She's adorable.
Yeah. Okay.
Not bad scenes. Be alright.
Everybody get enough rest? We ready for this?
For the talk for the final battles.
Yeah, we should probably get moving.
Yep.
Agreed. Can't stand around waiting all day.
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only descend down to Rena, defeat the Great Spirit, and restore stability to both worlds.
We're fighting for a new future for both Dana and Rena.
Right. We've come this far. We will save our worlds. That's a promise.
Then let's go, everybody. We've got one last wall to tear down.
Repairs on your starship are complete. Everything is in working order.
Is that you, Hevrek 35? You can see us from where you are?
I can.
Clearly.
I can see anywhere within the bounds of Dake Faisal.
Sounds like someone's a peeping Tom.
Maybe we should give Hevrect 35 a break. It has been stuck in this tiny facility for a very, very long time.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship. You can now make use of its warp drive.
Warp drive? Wait, you mean like what the Red Women used on us? What brought us here?
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on
Yep.
the starship. They are Helganquil, after all.
Using the warp drive, you should be able to breach Rena's atmosphere without being detected.
Wait, should?
You'll need to be careful. Due to the force field surrounding Rena, the ship will be unable to go any further than the surface of the planet.
So, once we reach the shell, it appears we'll have to infiltrate the core by foot. Understood.
We gotta go all the way down just walking?
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit? I have a strange feeling we're going to have to fight them before this is all over.
The extinction of my people is inevitable at this stage. As such, it would be illogical to risk the success of the mission in a vain attempt to save my kind.
They're not
I
important.
understand.
Can't that thing lighten
They're
up
not
a bit?
important.
Everything it says seems to be about what's illogical.
Ah, you guys thought the
Well,
Red Woman
come on, Doe.
important. Ah.
Hold up. Did you just...
You heard the lady. Get going.
I have one last question.
What?
As Sovereign, your identification number indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy. Similarly, the Maiden lacks any identification number, as her function should have been rendered unnecessary. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist. Why?
We exist because others have entrusted this to us. Over the years, many people have come together and sworn to see this through to the end.
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? The likelihood of such events is statistically improbable. Why have you two continued to persist under these conditions?
It's hard to explain. To be honest, I don't think it's something an observer could understand. All right, time to get back on the Fall Knights.
Let's go. Man, bunch of story dumping stuff there. Oh boy. Yeah, we're actually getting close to the end game. There is a few little things I want to do before I do the final dungeon.
It would appear that
They're not
our
much,
Helganquil
like,
host
I'm not
really
doing
has
side
fulfilled its end of
quests.
the bargain.
You know what that means. Time to go to Rena.
I guess this means we should give that warp drive a spin.
Look at that. It's pretty. That. Oh, we might want to make it snappy. But yeah, I'm not doing side quests or super bosses. I mean, or anything like that. I mean, there's not really any super bosses, but well, I guess there are, but they're easy. I mean, you can fight Aizen and Edna from Tales of Vesperia, respectively. But man, I'm not really interested. We'll fight Kirito.
There's nothing here. This weird ocean we're surrounded by
There's a
just
couple
stretches out
things
everywhere. Is this really where the Helganquil come from?
I don't sense even a trace of astral energy. This world is dead.
Then this must be the
Yeah.
hollowing.
You mean to tell me this whole world, the entire ocean is that stuff?
And it's covering everything. The entire planet.
This is what the Great Spirit does. After it depleted this planet of every last speck of astral energy, it went after Dana.
So arresting. This world of doom.
Back in its day, Rena was probably just as vibrant as Dana is. But after being robbed of its astral energy for so long, those days are gone and past. This is all that will remain.
So the Great Spirit took everything. It stole energy not just from living beings, but the land, the sea, everything.
And it bound the Helganquil in servitude, until their whole world was nothing but this. And by the looks of it, that's how it remains to this day. A world of death and emptiness.
With nothing left here to consume, the Great Spirit turned its sights on Dana, looking for another host.
You're saying if we don't stop it, this is what Dana's going to look like?
We can be sure that even these few remaining remnants of Renan life will not be spared in the end.
If the oblivion and darkness both Shion and Naori saw comes to pass, nothing will survive. It looks like we can climb down from there. Let's take a look.
What you'll do in time. And this is basically the end. Hope you guys enjoy. We will continue soon.
So this is Rena. This is
So
where
Rena
everything
was
began.
unlocked.
Yet it's
Have a good
dead
day and
world.
see you next
I
time.
won't let Dana suffer the same fate.
In the next
ever.
episode. It looks cool. Actually pretty nice looking.
A hollowed
Ah,
ocean
we
as
must
far
get
as
together.
the eye can see. What do you think would happen if we fell in?
What do you mean, what would happen? You'd drown, wouldn't you?
Come to think of it, I don't believe I've heard of someone ever trying. Perhaps you'd like the glory of being the first?
Nah, I'll pass.
No.
This is essentially a world-sized Renan graveyard. Are you proposing to disturb the dead slumber just to satisfy your curiosity, Law?
No, because I said I passed.
Taking an interest is understandable, but let's not forget where we are. This place deserves our respect.
Looks like we're not going to be hearing the end of this one for a while.
You'd think I was already snorkeling in it or something.
Sheesh. Well, take care, guys. See you next time.
So the idea is to seal the Great Spirit inside the Renaissance using the Sovereign and Maiden's power. But just how do we do that exactly?
I'm guessing it won't be as easy as holding a spirit channeling ceremony at our leisure.
I already had wielded astral energy once 3 centuries ago. As for suppressing her thorns, Shion's had a lifetime's experience. The problem isn't just our enemy's strength, it's that it's sentient too. And you can bet anything you like it's not going to just sit back and let us destroy it.
In other words, we need to find some way to weaken it in advance. The Great Spirit, that is.
Back when Shion's thorns flew out of control, we were able to deal with them directly. If this is their host, they should be even more corporeal here.
If that's the case, it should make them easier to attack at least. And if we can manage to divert enough energy away from the spirit's core, even temporarily,
We might just be able to weaken it enough to steal the Renus Alma, which we can then use to seal it away forever. It won't be easy, but it's our only shot. Time to buckle up.